Welcome to Dr. Roger and Friends, the bright side of longevity, hosted by 3 Ps in a podcast, Doc Roger, Teresa, and Danielle. Thanks for joining us for coffee and conversation.
Well, welcome everybody. I am so glad to be with you guys, even virtually. One of these days we have to do one live. Wouldn't that be nice? You know,
Yes.
like days before the pandemic. Gee. I just went on a road trip. You know, we should talk about this because we're all we don't know where we are in the world, right? Relative mask, no mask, distancing, vaccination. I mean, the world, mutants, all this stuff. It really makes your head spin. And I have a degree in public health. And I know Dr. Fauci, and I'm still not sure. So I got vaccinated. Paula, my wife, got vaccinated. We waited 2 weeks after that, so we were protected. And then after a year and a half of being down here in my basement, basically, we went on a road trip. You guys know.
Good for you.
I was a traveling crazy man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we went 7,200 miles. As far west, I live on Cape Cod, for those who don't know that, Massachusetts. We went as far west as Utah and eastern Montana, Wyoming, and then came back the very northern route through Duluth, Minnesota, and Michigan, and upstate New York. Anyway, so first of all, I have to say that I was, in general, very, very pleased with how people were wearing masks, seemed cognizant of not being near each other in every state I went into. Some less than others, but as far as what was acceptable was a little different. I mean, some places were having happy hours, and places were loaded, no masks, and other places were, very, very cautious, even more so than I expected. Only had one little altercation with someone about a mask. Paula did. I didn't even hear it. But, so all in all, I was pretty pleased. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it sounds like, if you read some of the news, that everyone's belligerent about this. And I'm kind of a Pollyanna anyway, but I do believe that people are trying to do the right thing and not hurt anybody. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
In your experiences, we are in Southern California and Florida, Central Florida. What's the deal? What have you been seeing?
I'll say here it's a mix, and it's I hate to say it, but it's more reason to be divided. I think even in this era, I don't know whether to call it like a post-pandemic era, wherever we are right now, where things are starting to open. Like, it could either be more fuel for division, right? Or it could be such a great opportunity to just be kind to each other and not assume we know. Like this, we knew we were divided politically as a nation, and then we were divided by the pro-vaccine and against vaccine, and then we were divided by the people who believed in masks and refused to wear masks. There's been so much division, I feel like. And now that there's this kind of beginning to re-enter whatever normal looks like, again, there could be such division. There could be people asking, have you been vaccinated? I personally don't think it's anyone's business, right? And as we know, some people have such a difficult story of health conditions, and it's not an easy answer to say whether they have or haven't been vaccinated. And it's in a way, no one's business anyway. And I would say it's either a chance for more division or a chance to just not assume that you know someone's story and just do your part and show up as the best version of yourself and be kind,
It's really well said. It's the old advice that I know my grandmother used to say, don't judge anyone. First of all, don't talk religion and politics. But she says, don't judge anyone unless you walk in their shoes. You just never know. So someone wearing a mask, that may not be a health statement or not wearing but a mask in particular, a political statement. It's what are they dealing with? Are they dealing with cancer? Are they dealing with an immune disorder? Are they just terrified? Do they have social anxiety? There's a lot of people who've just gotten terrified
Yes.
with this and will wear masks now. They saw they didn't get the flu. No, hardly anyone did because of masks. And this is what had happened in Asia, right? After SARS and the bird flu, we saw them wearing masks and we were chuckling, saying it's gotten to be a fashion statement. But really, I think they were traumatized, and I think many of us will. Danielle, what do you think?
And I've experienced that where I have a friend of mine who has a very suppressed immune system and was told, do not get the vaccine. I don't recommend it. So in those cases, when I see someone with a mask, I don't assume that they're unvaccinated. They might not be, but they might have something else, to your point, Roger, going on. So I'm curious, though, how do we navigate that? So I know in my case, we're fully vaccinated, but if I go into a room full of people and I don't know whether they are or not, out of respect for them, I'm naturally putting a mask on until there's a conversation. So how do we get the information we need to make sure that we're respectful and keeping everybody safe?
I don't know if we will, Danielle. I mean, it's sort of, an interrogation or voluntarily raising the issue. Right now the CDC guidelines says, if you're in a small group and certainly if you've been vaccinated, it's business as usual. No mask, you don't have to worry about physical distancing. That can be in a small group, vaccinated or unvaccinated. Basically, even in a larger group. I mean, basically, it's just about, back to business as usual for now. And hopefully it'll stay that way. But again, if you're not vaccinated, and you're in a group with people who are not vaccinated, but many of them, well, first of all, if they're all vaccinated, you can go in without a mask, even if you're unvaccinated. But if you're not sure, then you should be wearing a mask. And again, poor CDC, they can't answer every situation that comes out there. So, I think once again, I just think it seems even before COVID, maybe it's social media. I don't know what it is, but it seems to be this appetite for criticizing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's face it. I mean, we're not going to go back to a world where if you didn't have something nice to say, you didn't say anything. That would be nice, but we're not. And so I'm not saying we need to get a hard skin, but I think we do need to be, if we're respectful. What did Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see, right? And so, yeah, we're not going to change the world, but I think we should all at least respect others. And I criticize, and every time I do, I feel badly about it, and I'm going to continue to try not to. And certainly, what they used to say, ad hominem, right at the person. Getting, you look horrible, or you're a scumbag, or something that's directly to the person versus, the behavior or something. Anyway, there's a big long soliloquy. Even Hamlet would be bored. And
I think back to just the kindness aspect. I think the right way to navigate it all is just to find out what people are comfortable with, right? It's not, are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated? It's, what are you comfortable with, right? I'm such a hugger, for example. And you can't just be a hugger now. You can't just scoop people up the way you used to. And so even with that, it's a matter of, okay, what are you comfortable with? What distance, right?
Every time and maybe it's just me, but it's like the 20 questions on the phone. Okay, when I get there, can I hug you? If we're riding in a car, do you want me to wear a mask because it's close quarters? Are you okay with a crowd size? How big a crowd size? Can we be inside the restaurant or outside? So, on one side, Doc Roger, you're saying if we're fully vaccinated, we're kind of in the clear. But the other side of it is we don't always know where people are. So do we just be respectful and ask those questions? How do we navigate those two sides of the coin?
I've walked in and I can tell certain people are nervous.
Mm-hmm.
just how they are. Not only because they're wearing a mask, just how they sort of. And those are people I try to respect. I don't try to make fun of them, and so I'll wear a mask. And right now the CDC says I don't have to probably go anywhere with a mask, but I have one all the time that I can put on. By the way, with hugging, this is easy for guys because at least a guy who behaves himself. I mean, we never hug people unless you really know they want to hug, be it a guy or a woman. It's just not what we do. So we're always kind of scouting the territory or asking or putting out your arms or something and waiting, But, ladies who are huggers by nature, I can see that's a little bit more of a difficult situation.
Yep. I got to read my crowd now. I can't just hug bomb everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I warn them. I'm like, if you're okay with the hug, just know it's been a year, so you're going to get like 30 seconds of it.
It might get awkward.
I call it an oxytocin hug, the hug when 10 seconds for oxytocin start to flow, and then you get that really warm, good feeling. And those are good hugs.
Yeah, I like playing the devil's advocate. I don't know why this is so fun for me. So in the back of my mind, I'm asking the question for those out there who are asking this question, how do we really know that we're safe? Okay, we're fully vaccinated. We're in the clear, but we went from don't go out to, hey, now you're free. How do we know we're in the clear?
Well, I can tell you, in an age that's beginning to malign and doubt and undermine science, we're never going to be safe. I mean, we have to be able to trust the experts, those who are trained and experienced, those who base their decisions on research, data, and who are there. Public health people don't get paid anything. I mean, they're, compared to others, experts, and with the amount of training they have, they get a pittance. So, their motivation, it's kind of hard to call it into question. And so if you stop believing places like the CDC, Anthony Fauci, he's a personal hero of mine. I trained at Harvard in public health, and we studied his work even back then. And so if you stop trusting people like that, then that throws you into an area of that you don't want to be, where you can't trust anything. You never think you're safe. What is, are they lying to me? Why are they saying this? All questioning motivation. I don't know. There's got to be some people that you just trust, like in your family,
Including yourself. So no matter where you stand on masks or vaccines or what have you done what you can do, right? Have you done all that you can do? And your brain can offer you all the fear-based messages all day long, or you can change that channel and say, you know what? I've done everything I know to do to keep myself safe, and choose that thought on purpose. Right? And that generates a very different feeling.
You're right, Teresa. And the data is on our side. Deaths are way down, cases way down in the United States. And so if you're not quite as conscientious as you were before, or you're feeling a little, living on the wild side a little bit like that, I would certainly be judicious about that. But the data and statistics are probably on your side, that you either won't get sick or you won't get seriously ill and die. Now, that said, did you read where 70% of the vaccines that have been administered so far went to 10 countries?
I didn't.
This is an enormous problem, because as long as this virus is anywhere in any human, anywhere, and it's running rampant, it is mutating all the time, and it could very well get to a hybrid that's going to threaten us who are vaccinated, again. So I think that not only do we as humans should be, looking and caring about each other, we're all in this together, but I think we ought to think that on an international scale. But we can't do that. But we hope that our country does. Do you remember when we started this way back when COVID first started? Look at the episode, but I said, wow, what an opportunity this is for us to, we're all in this together. The whole human race is in a situation where they're under threat. Shouldn't this be bringing us together? In your remarks, Teresa, how this is dividing us, and it is, no question. But I'm hoping that it's uniting us now and even more in the long run than dividing us, but has yet to be seen. But, and I pledged to myself that I was not going to be the same person when this was over. And I'm going to be bound and determined to do that. I'm not exactly sure how I'm better. I'm a better artist. I'm a better writer. I'm a better podcaster. But I mean, with other things too, particularly this thing. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything.
I have one more devil's advocate question for you, Doc Roger, when we're talking about vaccines, because there are people that maybe are afraid to get it, and then there are people who got the first shot and they hear all the side effects that people had with the second and they stopped there. So do they have some level of protection, and is there something to get people who maybe they say, I know it's a good idea, but I'm afraid to get over that hump?
One shot will give you protection. I think initially they were saying in the area of 55% or something like that versus 95 with two shots. J&J, I think, gives you right out of the chute. I think it's in the 80s or so. So there is protection. But I'd like to say a couple words about vaccines. I certainly, everyone has a right to have their opinions about things, but as someone who's been around long enough, who had polio before the vaccine came out, who treated kids who died of diphtheria. Diphtheria should not be killing healthy kids but it does. And measles and those, we have the luxury of saying, I don't know about vaccines. Well, the luxury is that we're not seeing our children and other people dying in huge amounts needlessly just because a virus is there. And that's all gone now. Polio is eradicated. Measles, getting close to it. Smallpox, totally eradicated. And so, I certainly respect people's opinions, what they put in their body and all that. But if they really look historically at the record of vaccines, it's pretty overwhelmingly positive about what vaccines have done. So anyway, people are going to make up their own mind, but I know I was first, as soon as I could, I was there getting mine. And these are extremely effective and extremely safe, more than any other vaccine we've had. All right, I'll stop there. But so to answer your question, I respect it. If you're on the fence, climb over the fence. Get the vaccine.
Now, is this a once a year thing, like a flu shot, or do you think it's like a once and done?
I don't think it's going to be a one and done. I think that we will need boosters as long as it's in the world, as I was saying, and the possibility for variants. And so, which is no problem. We get boosters for flu. We get boosters even for measles. I mean, a long way away. Tetanus, all the other things. So, I think we're in good hands with what we know with our science. And I just think we have to manage this a little better globally, and the countries that can help, I think, should be. Anyway, I don't know how we got here, but I guess it started with my road trip. But it is a problem, and it is very difficult. But I think it does, as our conversation has said, reflect some very basic interpersonal relationships, interpersonal skills, interpersonal treatment of each other. And I don't think that goes away. And this just sort of magnifies it when there's something serious going on. So, Danielle, thank you for playing the devil's advocate. You're hardly a devil. You are an advocate. And I know you know a lot more than your questioning was showing, but you wanted to get it out. Thank you for that.
Because the guidelines vary from state to state, we're going to make sure to put a link for the Department of Health where you can access information for your state.
Any comments?
When's your next road trip?
as soon as Canada opens its borders, I am gone. I don't live far from the Canadian border in the Northeast, and my grandparents were French Canadian, and it was when I was an intern, like in Paleolithic times. I went to Nova Scotia, and it would be Paula and I went camping there, and we'll go back there as a sort of a nostalgia trip. But it's a beautiful area. Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Quebec. So how about you guys? Any road trips planned for you? Any travel? You've been wanting to go to Europe, Danielle, I know.
That's going to be it was supposed to be for our 10-year wedding anniversary. It'll end up being for our 11th. So we'll plan for next May. But for those who don't know, my husband's actually back in school. He's always wanted to finish his degree. So he's busy right now, and I am itching to go somewhere. So I'm excited. I called one of my gal pals, and I'm like, I'm going to Sanibel for a few days. You want to come along? It'll be like a gal's weekend getaway. And I haven't done that in years. So, where we talk about the guys and every other statement is, can you believe that? I know, right? So the gals go away to talk about the guys.
Yeah. Gender talk. It's okay. We're all in this together, right? All the double X's and all the XYs too. Yeah. So Teresa, your responsibilities, your four-legged creatures, your one trunk grove, are they going to let you go and do something?
I'm going to head for the high country this summer, and then to Bozeman to meet you. So can't wait.
Right. I can't wait either. We have a friend, Kay Van Norman, with a horse ranch there, and we're going to ride, and which we haven't done in 2 years. Usually it's every year. So yeah. I'm already starting to pack for that one.
That's so unlike you.
It is so unlikely. What else am I going to do? Paint? I'm painting the deck. Well, thank you. Not sure. I hope this was helpful for people, if only to express what they're feeling, and maybe a few gems from my colleagues here. And more to come on this.
More to come.
You've been listening to Dr. Roger and Friends, The Bright Side of Longevity. If you like the show, please rate and review, and be sure to click to follow.